Okay, the recording has started, and this is the September 24th, 2019 Rook community meeting. Let's go ahead and start talking about 1.1 and 1.2 milestones. Did not update that when I copied the block from last week. So we got 1.1.1 out on Friday, so about 4 or 5 days ago. And let's take a look, see here at the next upcoming patch release that we may be doing. So we've got 12 items in the to-do column here, and a couple of them are in the review process. Travis, do you want to go ahead and speak to some of these issues and the status of 1.1.2?
Yeah, let's see. There are a few things that have already been merged for a 1.1.2 release at some point. Other things in flight. I don't know that we need to talk through these specific issues, but it feels like we're still kind of going through that post-release stabilization, just getting some things in that people want in. So as far as timeline, in my mind, there's nothing burning. So if we could wait till next week for the next patch release, that seems sufficient. But
How many items do you think we have in here, Travis, that are rather optimistic, where it's just kind of putting them in there and like hoping that we address them, or are we tracking any ones at that type of level right now?
So everything in that to-do future patch release version, we probably need to scrub those and see where we are with them. If they're not assigned, then they're probably not actively being worked on. I guess there's a PR.
Yeah, some of them, like this one's a pull request.
I think we need to just review this whole board and see where we are with.
Okay. So maybe a little scrub. Okay, that's good to know. And then, but overall though, there's not like any burning issues that are like, oh my gosh, we need to get a 1.1.2 out, but before the end of this week.
I don't think so. Seb, do you have any other view on that?
I guess I'd like to get I don't think we need to have 1.1.2 urgently this week. This can wait a little bit, I suppose. But I guess I have 2 PRs in flight that are good candidates for backboards, but they're not really urgent. One of them is more urgent because it's, to be honest, downstream related. But we're good in terms of like where we are in the cycle. So yeah, that's fine if we wait for next week, I guess.
Right. For the downstream separately, we're not really dependent on the upstream release, right? So.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, because they don't use the stable tags anyways. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you do downstream stuff out of or like the latest release branch, or is it a whole totally different process that's like too complicated or too long to explain right now?
But it's based off the release branch, or going to be released out. It should be off the release branch. I think it's still on master because we're still going or finalizing things. But it basically it's off upstream release branches, or will be.
Cool. Okay. And so we are very, very newly into the 1.2 effort here. So we have a number of issues that we have like in kind of, some of them are a bit of a parking lot sort of thing of, park it into 1.2. And then some other ones are more or higher priority, and some of the storage fighters do, we haven't updated this list yet. So this is definitely not a full and complete picture for 1.2. What would you say for, let's say for Ceph, would be some of the high level like themes or goals for 1.2 as we're starting to get into it? And we'll talk about timing as in an upcoming agenda item that you already have, Travis, I saw.
Right, that's a great question. I'd say the focus has still been around, focus or stabilizing 1.1, and the focus hasn't turned to 1.2 from my perspective at least yet. The features we needed were really core in 1.1. I mean, there's definitely some things in the list here we'll want to get into 1.2, but it really needs some power put into it to really say, what are we doing in 1.2? I don't think I have a good answer for you yet here as far as themes or what we're doing there. I mean, like the collecting crash logs, and Sebastian has that one. We've got, I mean, there are features, but I don't have a general theme.
Yeah, I have two, I guess, but yeah, I don't think it's actually a theme. It's more like missing features. So as Travis mentioned, we have the crash collection. Then there is the Rados Gateway multi-site. And I would hope that we can get something working for Maltese as well during that cycle, because we have most of the code in place. So it's just a matter of seeing how we can integrate that feature in Rook.
Yep. Since it's already done for EdgeFS, summer of code. Yep, did most of it.
Yes.
And yeah, we should probably update the roadmap soon, since it's still all focused around 1.1, so we can flush out what we're doing for 1.2. I'll take that action item again.
Cool. That sounds great. And of course, Zoom moved the controls over top of my browser again, because Zoom is awesome. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and talk about your proposal here for the timing, Travis.
Mm-hmm. Go back and share the doc.
Oh, is it not?
I still see GitHub issues.
Oh, I closed that window. Huh. I guess I'll stop. Huh.
Okay.
Well, that's the important part that everyone needs to see is where my cursor is.
Right.
Let me go ahead and start sharing again. Is it back?
Yep. Now I see the agenda.
Oh, good job, Zoom.
Alrighty. Yeah, so with 1.2 and 1.3 coming up, or just think forward looking and considering when KubeCons are coming up, if we're thinking about quarterly release still, I mean, 1.3 would be around December and 1.4 would be around March. KubeCon doesn't really follow. Well, KubeCon is in 2 months for San Diego and 4 months after that, really, for Amsterdam. But I think, if we were to have graduation in time for KubeCon San Diego, I would suggest we try and do a shorter 1.2 to get that out right before KubeCon, but that's not looking likely. So just because of our security review, right? So I think just doing 1.2 just after KubeCon would be sufficient in my mind. And then that would really be the quarterly cadence anyway. And then 1.3 targeted for before Amsterdam, when hopefully we would be graduating. Yeah, so that was my thought process. It's open for discussion, not finalized in any way. But other thoughts around it?
Well, so I just want to ask. This is Rob. I just want to ask two questions. So, are we feeling like we can't do Rook graduation in time for the November KubeCon? I know it's not that far away now. But...
Yeah, Rob, to give a status update on that here in this context. So the biggest long pole has been the security audit that is a requirement of the CNCF graduation, and so we have Travis and I have met with multiple security vendors firms now that the CNCF has authorized, or at least has worked with in the past, and they've done cloud native project security reviews before. So we've met with a couple of those now, and none of them are able to deliver the audit and the review in time for KubeCon San Diego. In addition to fixing any issues they find, that's a bit of an unknown, and there's another part of that too.
Okay, that's okay. I understand. but that's okay.
Yeah.
I just hadn't.
So
I hadn't
it's, yeah.
internalized the news that we weren't going to do it for November, but it's fine. Amsterdam will be another good.
So we just had the latest meeting with them on Friday, so that's like still kind of under discussion, and that's like brand new news or understanding here because we just met with them.
Okay, good deal. All right, thank you.
Yeah. So Travis, this sounds somewhat reasonable. I'm not like I want like content for a 1.2. You know, there is somewhat of a reasonable, very tight but somewhat reasonable time period to be able to get a release out, but I'm not feeling like strong you know, that it's compelling like we must release before KubeCon San Diego, especially because it would be somewhat of a, you know, it doesn't seem like it would be that impressive of a release because of the shorter time period than our normal cadence.
Right, that's what I worry about too. If there's some significant things that we really feel like would be beneficial to announce the features at KubeCon, like here it's in the release, then I'd still like to consider it, but I don't feel like we're in that position at the moment, so waiting till after KubeCon seems reasonable.
Yeah, but I'd like to ask, like, were we in that position for 1.0, to be honest? Because 1.0 was a milestone on its own because it's 1.0, but did we actually have, as you said, like the set of features that will like make it like a significant release or not? And I mean, even if we do a small release, like, and I mean, we don't have to have a set of huge features too. Sometimes it's also about like stabilization and everything. So having a 1.2 maybe before KubeCon also gives us the opportunity to be like on the spot again, because we just released 1.2, and also just take advantage of the keynote because Rook has reached 1.2, and this gives to like more visibility to the project again, I think. So that's, I think, even if it's not a big release, at least we get a significant exposure by the keynote.
Right. And maybe we considered a 2-month release schedule, and we could have 1.5 out by March, even if we really want to target KubeCon. The 4-month between November and March seems like a bit longer, but that might be fine too if we were to just basically stretch and release around KubeCons as the goal. I don't know. For me, it comes down to, yeah, what feature do we want to announce in the release? So why don't we do some legwork, I guess, this week, and at the next meeting, let's have a more concrete plan around that.
Yeah, I guess again, this is Rob. I mean, having a release around a KubeCon is a good thing if there's something meaningful in it. So if there's if there's other storage backends that are coming in, or releasing a new set of features or something of support, something to announce that is around, you know, growth of the community and the breadth of the project. It's kind of nice to have a release that's got some news in it. I wouldn't do a release just for the sake of it, but it would be great if we could find some reason to do one for November.
Yep. Makes sense.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, we'll do some of that legwork this week then, and make a decision on that. Were there other topics to add in terms of either major features that are recent? Probably not, because we shipped 1.1 and did a patch release and kind of getting our legs under us again for 1.2. Or community topics that people wanted to bring up? If not, we can move on to the PR section. All right, Leseb, do you want to talk about this PR here?
Yes, please. Yeah. So several months back ago, I guess, I was proposing adding the Mergify engine to the Rook project so that we could have a more automated workflow for merging PRs. at the end, we decided not to use it for comprehensive reasons. Now I'm back with this one, but on a different subject. The goal here is really to improve the way we do backports at this point, and really trying to reduce the efforts in providing backports to any stable release. Today, the way we do backports is pretty let's say common. It's just asking whoever sent a PR to create a backport PR. Quite often people don't follow the guide on how to submit a backport PR, so that we have to still review how the PR was done. And we still have to approve it, and then eventually we still have to merge it. The workflow I'm proposing with Mergify at this point is to put labels on PRs that needs to be backported. So typically you will have a label, for example, backport release 1.1. Once the PR on master gets merged, Mergify will send a backport PR, do the cherry picks -X, and send a backport PR against that release 1.1 branch. Then the CI is going to be triggered just like all the time. And if CI passes, eventually Mergify will also merge that backport PR. So it's basically working for us while we sleep. And that's extremely useful because that's going to reduce the amount of time we spend on reviewing and asking people, and potentially missing backports as well. So yeah, I don't see this as a particular risk either, because it has been merged on master as well. And again, the CI runs anyways. So yeah.
Automating this
again. Yeah.
Automating this process sounds awesome to me. Like, it's very manual and error prone, and yeah, people don't get the cherry pick -X option, and so we have to ask them to do it again. And so if this can do it for us, then yeah.
And Sebastian, were you? Does this automatically open a pull request with the cherry picked commits and stuff, so a human still has to hit approve and merge, or does it just do the whole thing and bypass the pull request process?
No. What it does, it's going to create a branch, then cherry pick all the commits, then push that branch, then propose it against the release 1.1 branch. Then CI will run, so you will get a PR. You will always see that backport PR. The CI will run, and eventually Mergify will also merge that PR if the CI is green, and only if the CI is green.
How so on all the branches in the project, they all have branch protection rules that require an approval of every pull request, and it can't be the author of the pull request. Would that still work with Mergify? Would Mergify be able to merge the pull request automatically without an approval?
I guess this is something we have to investigate at this point. I don't have access to the rules that are in place at this point. I don't even have access or the ability to add Mergify to the repo either. So I guess the only way to find this out is just to go ahead and merge and install Mergify as but yeah, I think there are likely some rules that will have to change a little bit, maybe, to allow the Mergify engine to merge PRs for us.
Cool. Yeah, I like the idea of it, Sebastian, where if we follow this process here, so I guess it requires that on pull requests that we intend to have merged, we need to have the right label on it, right? Like, that's not an automatic part of it. That's
no,
the
it
trigger
is not.
for. Okay.
Yeah, the trigger is like you as a maintainer just applying the label on your PR. What it's actually really cool as well is that even if the PR was merged already, you can still set the label, and Mergify will create the PR for you as well. So that's something pretty cool as well.
Cool. Yeah. In general, I think this is a good idea, Sebastian. I support this to make things easier and streamlined. It sounds like we'll need a little bit of hands-on experience to, understand like the config that it might need or some of the behaviors of it. But in general, it seems like a good idea to make things more streamlined.
Right.
Yeah, and I know the founders too. So if we have any questions, then they can rapidly answer.
Do they?
Old colleagues from me.
Oh, that's cool. Do they have other tooling, or is this like their main focus, Mergify?
I think it's actually what's really funny is it's more like a side project for them.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's really funny. But it's actually getting a lot of traction now, and people are actually really using it. We have been using it on Ceph Ansible for like more than a year, and it's working like really well. And it has been like such a relief when doing backports, to be honest.
Very cool.
But you're using it for more than just backports, right? Using it for, well, the first round of PR you had.
We were also using it for merging PRs on master as well. Typically, they are like, yeah, they are really small PRs sometimes on master as well that need little attention. So if you have one or, yeah, I guess maybe only one reviewer is fine. And that if you have an approve, then merge, and if CI passes, then Mergify will also merge that PR. Maybe this is something we can consider in the future, but at this point, yeah, I just want to solve the backports problem, I would say.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Sebastian, for bringing that up.
Okay.
Other Sebastian, not Niseb.
Sorry, just one more thing. So what's the action item on this one?
Yes, I think we're in agreement to go ahead with it.
Okay.
Just review the config and let's try it out.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
cool.
you just like it will be set up. So you need to, in addition to merging that PR with the config, we also need to add that app to the
yeah,
local,
right.
like,
Yeah,
GitHub
it
account.
needs to be authorized. Yeah, with GitHub. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So we'll figure that out too then.
Sounds good. Maybe I will check that with Travis tomorrow.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay.
And then, so we had another pull request here for other Sebastian, but I don't think that Sebastian is on the call here.
Right. I added that to the agenda for him. Wasn't sure if he'd make it though. Apparently not. So I just wanted to point out this PR as far as design proposal for when to remove Ceph OSDs. Like if you're, and the driver for this was dashboard scenario. So a user from the Ceph dashboard says, I want to remove this OSD or this node. So this is kind of the proposal for how it would happen. And also, for example, changing it so we don't automatically remove OSDs if you remove them from the CRD, because I think there have been a couple of places where that's happened accidentally by people. And then, so we just want it to be explicitly clear that the admin chooses when to delete OSDs, since that's a destructive action. I don't know, Jared, you may have input on this since you implemented the removing of OSDs in the past, but if you're fine with it, we'll continue. Anyway, feedback's always good though.
Cool. Yeah, all that logic has come a long way since I coded that initial removal of OSDs in my parents' basement.
Well, years ago.
Yeah, like when I remember doing that on vacation, like I'm visiting my parents' house. So I'm sure it's better than that start.
Yeah. So is that, I mean, it's a good memory or a bad memory if you remember where you were when you wrote that code?
It was good. Had a lot of fun with it, but it was a very early attempt at that with somewhat naive assumptions, let's say.
Okay.
Cool. All right. And then Ashish, you added an action item here for migrating the NFS operator to operator SDK. I can't. I hear some buzzing, Ashish, but I can't hear any speech.
Yeah, something's wrong with the audio there, unfortunately.
It's like your microphone's like half plugged in, maybe.
I am audible now.
Yes, I can hear you great now, Ashish.
So we were having a plan to migrate all our operators to operator SDK, right? So I was thinking, why shouldn't we start with the NFS operator, because the code base for the NFS operator is a bit small, and I think that would be a great place to start for the migration, I guess. So I was thinking I can commit to that and I can help in that.
So I think for a proposal like this, we'd need a design doc to say, hey, what are we doing with this change? So in my mind, we definitely want to move to the controller runtime as far as handling the CRDs events and things. And we're actually using the controller runtime now in the Ceph operator in a couple of places with the new controllers that were just added for PDBs and MDBs, right? So and you worked on that, so you're familiar with it. So I think that what's clear is that yes, we want controller runtime. So then the question is around operator SDK is what's the proposal there? Like, what does it mean to move an operator to the operator SDK, right? What's beyond the controller runtime that we need in the Rook project? I think it's a big design decision that we need to be clear on what it means or what are the implications.
Yeah, I like this using the NFS operator because of its smaller scope, and there would be less of an effort there and less risk around it as well. I think that in general is a good approach. But then I definitely agree with Travis that this requires some thought up front and some kind of exploring there and kind of maybe sharing some of the risks and caveats. And there may be, I'm not sure, but there may be some impact by migrating one operator. There may be impact across the code base, but I don't know that. I doubt that, but that's a possibility to be aware of. So even though we try to scope it to NFS, it could have more broader impact than just NFS. I hope not, though. And then Travis, I like that we do have the controller runtime as a dependency now recently from, I guess, from the object bucket stuff. So that's really cool because having that in as a dependency is the biggest foundational thing to be able to do these more complicated controllers that use, because operator SDK is based on controller runtime controllers too, right? So having that in the code base as a dependency now was already a big first step.
Ashish, if you could start by creating a design doc in our design folder and just describe, hey, here's the benefits of operator SDK. Here's what it looks like when we convert to this in Rook, and we'll have that discussion on the design doc. I think that.
Yeah, I was coming to that only. So I and Rohan just had a chat last week, and we were thinking of. I mean, we know some of the bugs in an FS operator, and we were thinking of writing it again from the scratch in operator SDK, because anyway that's the plan in future. So yeah, I and Rohan can work together on it, and maybe we can present a design doc maybe by next meeting.
Yep. Okay.
Ashish, I'm really excited about this too, because I think that being able to kind of trailblaze a bit here and show maybe a potential next iteration of operators in Rook, I think is really exciting. So I think I like that you're taking this on, or that you have that initiative to do this. I think this is a cool project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it would be great. Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Very cool. All right, so that was all of the agenda items that we had for today. Did anybody have anything else to bring up in this meeting here? Otherwise, we can adjourn for the week.
That's all for me.
All righty then. Cool. Thank you, everyone, on a successful 1.1 release recently, and then also thank you for for discussing everything today, and we'll see you online.
Thanks.
All right. Talk to you later.
Day.
Every day. Bye.
Bye-bye.